Have you ever woken up in the morning and just not moved? Not because you were tired, not because you were sick, but because something deep inside you, something that doesn't have a name, something that lives beneath your thoughts, beneath your feelings, beneath everything you think you are, just refused. I have. And I want to tell you about it. Not the version people expect. Not the inspiring comeback story wrapped in a bow. I want to tell you the real thing. The thing that happens before the comeback. The thing nobody talks about because it doesn't look like anything from the outside. It just looks like a man lying in bed. I had everything, and I mean everything. The kind of everything that people spend their entire lives chasing. The money that makes problems disappear. The fame that fills rooms before you even walk into them. The laughter of millions of people directed at you, for you, because of you. I had looked out at audiences and watched them lose themselves completely. I had felt that. I had tasted what it means to be loved by strangers. And I would still wake up and not want to get out of bed. Not just some mornings, many mornings. Long stretches of mornings that blurred into each other until the days lost their edges and everything became one long gray afternoon that never quite ended and never quite began. Here is what I learned lying there. Something I could not have learned any other way. The bed is not the problem. The wanting to stay in it is not weakness. It is not laziness. It is not depression in the way that word gets used. Like it's a malfunction, like something broke inside you and needs to be fixed. What I felt in those moments was something far more interesting than a malfunction. It was a signal. A transmission coming from somewhere so deep that most people never hear it because they're too busy getting up, making coffee, checking their phones, performing the morning ritual that tells the world and themselves that they are fine, they are functional, they are a person with places to go. I couldn't do that anymore. And maybe you felt this too. Maybe you've had a morning, or many mornings, where the ceiling was more honest than anything waiting for you on the other side of standing up. Where the blanket felt like the only thing between you and a world that wanted something from you that you didn't know how to give anymore. I want to talk to you about what that really is. Because I spent years being afraid of it, years fighting it, years dragging myself upright through sheer performance, putting on the face, becoming the character, making everyone around me comfortable with the version of me they needed to see. And it worked. God, it worked beautifully on the outside. The performances were real. The laughter was real. But underneath all of it, there was this thing waiting for me in quiet rooms. This stillness that felt like it wanted to swallow me whole. Here is the first thing I want you to understand. What you feel when you don't want to get up is not you failing at life. It is life. The real, unperformed, uncurated version of it, trying to get your attention. The question is whether you are willing to listen. Most people aren't. And I understand why. Listening requires stopping. Stopping requires silence. And silence, real silence, the kind that exists underneath the noise you fill your life with, is one of the most terrifying things a human being can encounter. Because in that silence, you will meet something. You will meet whoever is actually there when nobody is watching, when nobody needs anything from you, when no performance is required. And sometimes, many times, that meeting is devastating. I remember a period where I would lie there and think about the word I. Just that. Just the smallest word in the English language, the one we use more than almost any other, the one that seems so obvious and so solid. I would think about it and it would start to dissolve. Who is the I that wakes up? Who is the I that doesn't want to move? Is it the same one that makes people laugh? Is it the same one that signs the checks and answers to the name and shakes hands and gives interviews? Because I started to suspect, lying there in the gray light of those long, still mornings, that the I everyone knew was not the real one. It was a character, a magnificently constructed, deeply committed, extraordinarily skilled character, but a character nonetheless. And the real thing, whatever was underneath, didn't want to perform that day. Do you understand what that feels like? To suddenly see the costume you've been wearing so long, you forgot it was a costume. To look at your own life the way you'd look at a script and realize you've been so deep in the role that you never once stepped back to ask whether you wanted to play it. That's what the bed is. For some people, at some moments, the bed is the only honest place in their lives, the only place where the character gets a day off. The world doesn't like this. The world has a very specific relationship with productivity, momentum, forward motion. The world believes, deeply, structurally, in its bones, that the purpose of waking up is to do things, to produce, to become, to optimize the self into a more efficient machine for the generation of outcomes. And if you lie there instead, staring at the ceiling, not producing anything, not becoming anything, you become a problem to be solved. I became that problem for myself for a long time. I tried to solve it with work, with more work, with the kind of frantic creative output that looks like passion from the outside and feels like running from something on the inside. I made things. I made so many things. Brilliant things, some of them, beloved things, things that will outlive me. And in the making of them, I could temporarily silence the signal. I could drown it out with the noise of creation, the urgent, beautiful noise of becoming something. But you cannot drown out what lives inside you. Not permanently. Not really. It comes back. It always comes back. And every time it comes back, it is a little louder, a little more insistent, a little more impossible to ignore. Until one day, it isn't a quiet signal anymore. It's the only thing in the room. That day, for me, was one of the most important days of my life. I want to stop here and say something that might sound strange. I am grateful for every morning I couldn't get up. I mean that completely. Not in the way people mean it when they're trying to make pain sound palatable, when they dress suffering in the clothing of gratitude to make everyone more comfortable. I mean it the way you mean it when you look back at the exact moment something cracked open and understand, finally, that the cracking was the point. Because here is what I found on the other side of that stillness when I finally stopped fighting it and let myself be in it completely. Nothing. And I mean that in the most extraordinary way possible. I found that underneath the character, underneath the performance, underneath the name and the face and the story and the achievements and the wounds and the fears, underneath all of it, there was nothing. A vast, open, quiet nothing. And here is the thing they don't tell you. Here is the thing I could not have understood until I was lying there with nowhere left to run. The nothing is not empty. It is the fullest thing there is. The nothing is what you are when you stop being what everyone needs you to be. It is the space before the performance begins. It is the silence before the first word. And it doesn't need anything from you. It doesn't need you to be funny or successful or healed or productive or brave. It doesn't need you to be anything at all. It simply is. And in it, so simply, so completely, without effort or achievement or justification, so are you. This is what spirituality actually is, underneath all the words people use for it. Not a belief system, not a practice, not a set of rules or rituals or ideologies. It is this recognition. This moment of meeting the nothing and discovering that you are not afraid of it anymore. But you cannot get there by trying to get there. You cannot achieve it. You cannot perform your way into it. You cannot optimize your morning routine until you accidentally stumble into your own soul. Sometimes you have to not get up. Sometimes the most spiritually advanced thing a person could do on a given morning is absolutely nothing. I know how that sounds. I know that in a world that monetizes every second and measures worth in output and treats rest as something you earn rather than something you are, I know that sounds like an excuse. Like something someone says to justify staying in bed. And maybe for some people, sometimes it is. I won't pretend that every morning of inertia is a spiritual awakening. Some mornings you're just tired, but some mornings, and you know which ones I mean, you know the difference in your body even if you've never named it. Some mornings the stillness is the teacher. And the lesson it is trying to teach you is one you cannot learn standing up. It is trying to teach you that you are not the character. You are not the name, the reputation, the history, the ambitions, the wounds, the achievements, the failures, the face in the mirror, the voice in your head that narrates your life with such confident authority that you've mistaken it for truth. You are not any of that. All of that is happening. All of that is real in its way. But it is happening to something. It is appearing in something. And that something, that vast, quiet, unnameable, unbreakable something that is there before the thoughts and after them, that is there whether the day is good or terrible, that holds every experience without being destroyed by any of them. That is what you actually are, and it needs nothing. It is not behind. It is not broken. It does not need to fix itself or improve itself or justify its existence or earn its place in the world. It already has its place. It is the place. I spent so many years not knowing this, running from this, running so fast, so brilliantly, so entertainingly, that the whole world stood up and applauded the running and mistook the speed for joy. It wasn't always joy. Sometimes it was terror wearing the costume of joy. And the bed, the hated bed, the shameful bed, the bed that felt like failure, was the only place the terror couldn't follow me. Because in that stillness, the character couldn't function. And when the character couldn't function, something else could breathe. Here is what I want to leave you with. If you are someone who has mornings like this, if you are someone who understands from the inside what it means to lie there and feel the weight of a life that has somehow become a performance you can't remember auditioning for, I want you to know something. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are possibly, just possibly, closer to something real than you have been in years, maybe ever. Because the collapse of the performance is not the end of something. It is the beginning of the only thing that was ever actually yours. The world will tell you to get up. The world will offer you every conceivable tool for getting up. Motivation and productivity and purpose and goals and morning routines and gratitude journals and all the magnificent machinery of modern self-improvement. And some of that is fine. Some of that has its place. But before any of that, before the getting up and the doing and the becoming, there is the being. And being requires nothing from you, not movement, not production, not a single brave step forward into the life you think you're supposed to want. It requires only this: your willingness to stop pretending you are only the character. Your willingness to sit, even for one still and honest moment, with whatever is actually there underneath all of it. That is where I found myself. Not on a stage, not at the peak of anything, not in triumph or achievement or any of the moments the world marked as my finest. I found myself in the quiet, in the gray morning light, in the nothing that turned out to be everything, and the only way I got there was by not getting up. So the next time you wake up and something in you refuses, something deep and wordless and real refuses, don't be so quick to fight it. Don't be so quick to perform your way past it. Lie there for a moment. Let the silence be what it is. Let the nothing be what it is. And ask yourself, quietly, without needing an answer right away, who is there when nobody is watching? Because that one, that quiet, unperforming, uncustomized, unimpressive, magnificent one, that is the only one that was ever really you. And it has been waiting, very patiently, for you to finally stay still long enough to notice.